And this is actually before I woke up. This is, I was going on the right path, and I thought I was woke up. But I don't even know if you ever do reach the end of waking up. I think it's just always this expansion of your consciousness. I mean, if you think you're going to have all the answers and you're going to have it figured out, you're not going to have it figured out. Okay, this is constantly expanding. Our consciousness is constantly expanding, and just when you think that you've fully enlightened, something else is going to just broaden your consciousness even more. So there really is no end point. It's the process of awakening, and it just keeps on going. So I hope you're cool with the process, because it's not going to stop.
Yeah, it's a hot day. I'm hanging in the sunshine. You should hit me with the splash gun.
Hey, what's up, Everyday Masters? I know it's been a long time since I posted a video. It's kind of out of my control. I mean, we haven't had internet, and I'm not kidding you. It's been like 10 days. It's pretty frustrating, actually. In fact, we've had like our power go on and off like pretty much daily. Our water's just trickling in, and I don't know, man. That's just the way it is living in a third world country. So it is what it is. I'll keep making them, and I'll post them as soon as I can get them up. And so yeah, but I did want to I'm gonna do a little question and answer. And it seems like a lot of people are into these frequencies, which is perfect, because I love to talk about these frequencies. And I really thought that I had done so many videos on them that people would lose interest, but apparently not. So that's cool, because then I don't have to worry about what to talk about. I can just talk about what I like the best, and that is these frequencies and what's happening on the planet. So I'll just get right in. First one. Do you think you can feel these frequencies stronger in certain areas than others? You'd think so. You would think that there are certain spots on the planet where you can feel them stronger. Because you can certainly feel the energy in certain areas stronger than the energy in other areas. But I don't think so about these frequencies, man. I think they're here. They're all around the planet, and they're at the same level everywhere. Maybe your ability to access them gets stronger in certain areas, but that doesn't mean that the frequencies are actually stronger in that area. I believe that they're equally as strong all around. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I have been to some of these, magical places. And to me, it's just kind of like, I remember going to some of these places before I realized what was going on, before I started remembering, who I am and why I'm here. And I could definitely feel an increase in the energy in certain areas. But these frequencies, they're different. Man, they're always here 100%. A couple days ago, we went to my favorite taco stand, and so we're sitting there, and it was unbelievable. Like, for some reason, they were so thick. I'm sitting there eating my favorite tacos, and it was like they were like these frequencies were dripping off me. I didn't even. It felt like I had just given like 5 reconnections in a row. I mean, they were so strong. And I remember I'm just sitting there eating these tacos, and these frequencies, I just felt like I was just going to like burst into a ball of light or something, dude. It was nuts. So I don't know. I just think they're the same everywhere. I mean, there are certain times when I think we can access them on a deeper level. But I don't think it has to do with location. I think it has to do with your consciousness. And, like, say you're around a bunch of, like, negative people. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go into it. You know, maybe you wouldn't be able to feel them as strong. You know, some people have a lot of issues with family members. You know, maybe if you're around your family, you know, they're not coming through quite as strong, but when you're home alone, they're off the charts. So I don't think that has anything to do with the frequencies, the strength of the frequencies. I think they're even all around the world, and maybe it's just our ability to access them that limits how they feel. So maybe, you know, if you go to a magical spot like, I don't know, Machu Picchu, Sedona, Arizona, you know, maybe your state of mind's in a different place, and so therefore they feel stronger. But I don't really think that they're stronger. I think that they're the same all around the world. And I will say, which is very interesting, like I don't know why this happens. I mean, I have some ideas why this happens, but for some reason when I drive, they're so crazy strong. Like when I drive, I'll basically drive with one hand and I just bring these frequencies in with the other, and it feels like ecstasy. I mean, I have to do it. Like my kids are like, why are you always doing this? And I really don't have an answer other than I think I'm supposed to, because it feels so amazing when I'm driving. Like it's almost like, and you know, I've had a couple comments where other people were talking about this too, where, you know, these frequencies are, they feel extremely strong when they're driving. You know, I had one guy, he was a truck driver, and he says, you know, I'm just spreading these frequencies around the highways. And it kind of made sense because I have read where there are just certain people, you know, they're kind of like these anchors for this light. And it's almost like they're creating their own grid around this planet. I know that sounds weird, but I don't really know how else. I mean, why when I jump in the car would they be as just as strong as when I'm actually giving somebody a session or when I'm facilitating one of these reconnections? I mean, it's almost like somebody has my hand and I can feel it, and it's insane. So I don't know why that happens, other than, you know, maybe we are. And I do know that, you know, the science, like, you know, I mentioned this in another video. You know, William Tiller from Stanford, you know, he did these studies on these frequencies, and he went to the rooms where, you know, these training programs are, and his results basically said that when you bring these frequencies into your awareness, you're literally healing the space that you're in. You're healing our world. So, like in any space, you know, any place in the world, there's constantly entropy going on. There's this constant decay. Things are falling apart. But what happens is when you bring in these frequencies, the reverse happens. Not only do they stop, not only does entropy stop, but things start to heal. So I think that I do not think that there's any places on the planet where they come through stronger. I think it's just our ability to access them. It's the state of our mind, our consciousness, and maybe at these, you know, special places, we're in the right state of mind to fully access these, to open the door and allow them to just flow through you at their peak. So I don't think that they do. I don't think they are stronger in certain areas than others. My hands are tingling all the time. Are these the frequencies you're talking about? Maybe. They could be. I would say most likely. You know, before I discovered these frequencies for myself, before I read that book that I mentioned where I actually, you could say, attuned to these frequencies. It's called The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself. I'll post a link in the info section. Yeah, I mean, if you can feel these frequencies, you really should read that book, because I mean, you should read that book. Like if you can feel them, you might want to know what they're about and what they're doing to you and to the people around you and to our world. And so that's the perfect book to read for you. And that's when they really that's when I understood what was going on, or began to understand what was going on. But before that, I remember that I was putting up some blinds in our house. And the second I would raise my hands above my head, like my hands would go numb and they'd start tingling. And I was like, oh my God, that's weird. Like tingling, not tingling. And it was back then, I like literally, there was fears. Like, oh my God, I got the worst blood circulation in the world. Like, how can my hand go numb when I do that? But now it's gone. And I didn't know what to think. In fact, I didn't even tell my wife. I didn't tell anybody. I just kept it to myself because it was like, I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. But then, I read that book. I started feeling them. They got stronger. Did my reconnection. Dude, done. I totally understand. It was like, so I could feel them before I was aware. And so if your hands are tingling, because these frequencies are so strong. They're coursing through you right now. So I would say there's a great possibility that that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you're feeling this tingling in your body, and for some reason the hands, it seems to come through the hands first, but it's not just the hands, dude. It's the whole body. I mean, you can feel these frequencies just all throughout your body, and it's not just a tingling. It's more of like a magnetic situation, or a magnetic feeling, sensation. So, did I even answer that? My hands tingling? So yeah, I would say yeah. And one good way to tell was, if your hands are tingling, do that little experiment in one of my videos. Like, can you feel them? And see see when you play with them, how they increase. Because they'll get stronger and stronger and stronger. I guarantee you that. Oh, I did have somebody talk about my fingers. See, my fingers are actually straight. When I hold my fingers up, my fingers are straight. This guy is not straight because I broke this dude twice. One time I 4-putted from 3 feet to lose a tournament, and I was quite pissed off, so I ended up punching a bench, and I broke this guy. So this guy will never be straight. But my hands are straight. But for some reason, as soon as I bring in these frequencies, my hands change shape. It's almost like you ever stick your tongue on a 9-volt battery or something, and you're like, whoa. It kind of dude, that's what it is. For some reason. So if you see me and my hands are making this crazy looking shape instead of being flat, these frequencies are just I don't do that on purpose. I don't think it's a great look. It looks weird. It looks like I have some kind of arthritis or something. But that's what happens for some reason. I don't know what happens, but I can my hands change shape when I'm bringing to these frequencies. I can feel these frequencies. Now what? How do you heal people with these frequencies? Man, this is absolutely the most common question I get. People are always like, what do I do now? And it's weird because I know what to do, but I think if you want to learn about these frequencies, I think you should go to the person who they first came through. He's been doing this for, 30 years now. No one understands these frequencies more than Dr. Eric Pearl. You know what I mean? So if you I would read his book. Actually, if you can feel these frequencies, and if you read the book, the real book to read it's called Solomon Speaks. I'll post a link in the video. That is the most specific book about these frequencies, why they're here, what is happening to us, how it's affecting the people around us, and how it's affecting our world. It's called Solomon Speaks. It's Eric Pearl's second book. But so I don't teach how to become a reconnective healing practitioner. That's their job. That's their thing. And this weird thing is, I have this strange loyalty to Eric Pearl for some reason. It's really weird. It's like, I remember the first time I met him, there's this weird thing. It's like, I know that we know each other, not from this level, from a different level. I know that I've done this with him many, many, many times. There's a familiarity with him. But the weird part is when I'm around him, I'm not really myself. There's like this, almost like a nervousness. It's really weird. Because I'm not like that around anybody. You know what I mean? So I think the weird part is I get this feeling. It's like I get this feeling like sometime in the past, I screwed this guy over. Like I think I screwed this guy over because there's this irrational loyalty to, I don't know. So I don't teach this. Now, if you go learn how to become a reconnective healing practitioner, if you learn everything that they teach you, and then you want more, then sure, let's do this. We will go as deep down the rabbit hole as you want until we pop out the other side, and we can just have a party. So I do not teach. So if you're interested in actually doing this work, you know what I mean? It's called Reconnective Healing, and you can go to the Reconnection. And if you're really interested, just use my coupon code because I can get people discounts on these classes. The weird part is when you go to these classes, though, it's really about consciousness. It's about there is no techniques. It's basically unlearning techniques. That's what's really going on. Is letting go of all the baggage that would prevent you from bringing these frequencies in 100%. So there's really no technique. There really is none. But there's a consciousness. There's an understanding. And if you have like fear, you're not going to bring these frequencies through as strong as you can, because that's the only thing that's going to not allow you to open the door for others to walk through to have that healing. And speaking of, you're not healing anybody. I'm not healing anybody. You open the door and you allow themselves to heal themselves. Nobody's healing anybody else. The people are healing themselves. You can be the catalyst, you can be the antenna to allow these people to heal themselves, but you're not doing anything, dude. I'm not doing anything. I'm an antenna for these frequencies. I just open the door and I allow these frequencies to come through. They bring people back into balance on all levels, and that's how the healing happens. I'm not focusing this. No, that's not how you do this. There is no I feel that I should float over the big toe or something. No, there's none of that. In fact, these frequencies know where to go. I mean, I could literally any practitioner, you could just stay at the head and just bring these frequencies in. The frequencies know where to go. Where do the frequencies come from? From source. Okay. Oh, another thing about these frequencies? I would say Solomon Speaks is the most specific information that's related to these frequencies. There's a lot of other people who mention these frequencies, talk about these frequencies, and it seems like they're the same thing. You know what I mean? Dolores Cannon, she's always talking about these frequencies, that are healing our planet, they're healing our DNA. I would say those are the same frequencies, absolutely. Cryon, who's channeled by, what's his name? Lee Carroll. He talks about these frequencies, how they're repairing our DNA. They're healing us. I think these frequencies, when our DNA starts to repair or starts to wake up, I think your access to the field becomes crystal clear. I think that, to use the metaphor, it's almost like your body is your hardware. Your mind, your beliefs, is your software. But the field of consciousness that connects us all, everything is consciousness. That is the internet. Okay, this is just a metaphor. Okay, so sometimes I realize that in my videos I'm not crystal clear, and then I'll put text, but people listen to it and they don't actually read the text, so they don't get that I'm actually speaking in metaphors. But the metaphor would be that this field of consciousness is the internet. It has all the information. And it's our DNA. That's how we connect. It's our connection to the internet, to this field of consciousness. And so as these frequencies repair, wake up, reconnect our DNA, our connection to this information, to this field of information, gets stronger and stronger. So that's, in my opinion, that's exactly what's happening. So back to the other people that are talking about these frequencies. And Lee Carroll, he's done several training programs with Eric Pearl. And the funny thing is Eric, I remember hearing one time when Eric when these frequencies first started coming through him, he's like, what the hell's going on here, man? What is this? How come my patients are acting, how come they're doing these movements and their eyes are flickering and I can see ripples in their skin, and what's going on? How come they're healing? Not basic healing, how are they having these miraculous healings? And so he was trying to figure out what's going on, because he wasn't a super spiritual person, certainly wasn't a new age type person, so he didn't know what was going on. So he started looking around, to find out more information. And one of the first persons he called was Lee Carroll, because Lee Carroll had been doing this, and somebody recommended him. So he called Lee Carroll on the phone, and this story is Lee's telling this story, not Eric. Lee's telling this story about these frequencies. And so Lee said, the first time that he met Eric called and said, hey man, I want to come over, I want to show you this, I don't know what's going on, can you help me figure out, what's going on? So he went over, called him up, showed up at the door, and as soon as he opened the door, he's like, hey, my name's Eric, how you doing? And as soon as he did that, Cryon came into Lee's head and said, you know who this is, don't you? And if you've ever heard any Cryon, and you can feel these frequencies, I think that's a pretty interesting story. I don't know what it means, but I like it. It's one of my favorite stories. So,
surfing on a wave of good feelings. Well, it's just another Friday in paradise. So bring your A game, 'cause this party won't stop. We could never run out of time, sipping strawberry lime. I wanna share it with you.